chapters, we finally get to meet he who must not be named in person.
You know who?
In not person. In, what do we call this? It's not in person. It's in whatever form he's in.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not really sure what that form really is.
Okay, let's get into it. That's it. That's the only new character. Everybody else we already know. Yeah, we're up to no good here. So, chapter summary. We left off. Yes.
Did you tell them the name of the chapter?
Yeah, The Man with Two Faces.
All right. I didn't hear it. I didn't. So I wanted to make sure we said it.
I said it when I said, guys, this is our last chapter.
Oh. My bad. Sorry.
Okay. So we left off with Harry entering the room. And it wasn't Snape. It was the Quirrell.
Quirrell!
It's Quirrell! The Mr. Turban himself, Quirrell. And he wasn't shaky or twitchy or stuttering. It was all a facade. All of it. It was all a facade. It was a ruse. We were taken. Yeah.
We were bamboozled. Our flabbers were gasted. Okay, sorry.
So he starts to divulge himself to Harry because Harry's like, what? You? He's like, yeah, bro, it was me. He's like, I was the one who tried to kill you on your broom. If Hermione Granger hadn't knocked me over on her way to getting Snape, then it wouldn't have, it wouldn't have broken my eye contact and I would have killed you. Snape was trying to save me? Yes. Trying to save Harry Potter from falling off of his broom all this time. So
that's why he refereed that next match.
Yes, that's why he refereed the match, because he wanted to be very, very close, very, very present to try to make sure that nothing else was going to happen, because Snape, remember when we talked about how they had a chit chat in the forest and all the other encounters that Snape and Quirrell had is because Snape was very suspicious of him all along and thought that he was on the wrong side, and he wanted to get the story straight and make sure that he was on the right side. So here we were, throwing Snape under the bus when he was just trying to save Harry. And so all the while they're talking, Quirrell and Harry are talking in the chamber. Quirrell puts ropes around Harry, magically, of course. He doesn't like tie him up. Just, and ropes appear around Harry. And so previously we said that they had gone through different challenges to get to this final room. And Quirrell left the troll knocked out. Apparently he has a gift with trolls, with being able to handle them. And that's why we know he was the one who let the troll in on Halloween. And then Harry, all the while they're talking, doesn't even realize that behind Quirrell is the Mirror of Erised. It's just there in the middle of the room. The rest of the room is empty.
Dumbledore's.
Well, there are doors. Of course there are doors.
No, I said Dumbledore's Because remember, everybody's enchantment. Dumbledore's.
We're finally at Dumbledore's enchant, right? Which is very cool. And so Harry, he's so smart for his age. He's standing there thinking, I need to stall for time to get Dumbledore here. I need to stall for time so that Hermione can get Ron and get somebody to help us. So I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to try to talk him out, like just keep the conversation going. And so that hopefully also he kind of loses his concentration, because Quirrell's walking around the mirror, looking at it, you know, kind of like analyzing how he's supposed to get the stone from this. And so Harry is like, wait, why did you talk to Snape in the forest? I saw you guys, and Snape, he hates me. Why was he trying to save me? And Quirrell starts laughing because he's basically like, yeah, it's me the whole time. Your dad and Snape went to school together. And that's why, well, that's kind of why he hates you, according to Quirrell.
Because he loathed your father.
They've got some beef from the past that causes Snape to hate Harry, kind of retroactively, I guess. And then he's like, but wait, if that's all true, and you're really the bad guy, why did I hear you crying in a room? Why was you like sobbing and so, you know, seemingly upset? And then Quirrell's like, uh-oh, he's close to my secret. He knows something. And he's like, well, I'm never alone. I'm never alone. That's a huge hint right there when he says I'm never alone. And then he tells us about how there are no good people. It's not good versus evil in this world. It's only power and those too weak to seek it. That's an interesting take on life.
According to his master taught him that. His master, of course, being he who must not be named.
Yeah, moldy. So, and then he gets an idea. Harry Potter gets an idea as they're talking. He's like, wait, I'll get the stone first. I'll try to get the stone first. And then I can just like lie to him. I can tell him I don't have it and I don't know how to get it. And that'll keep him searching and keep him from having it. So he tries to like shimmy his way in front of the mirror, because at this point he's still tied up. Tries to shimmy his way on over to the mirror and try to look into it, but he can't. And then he hears a voice from a body that's not in the room saying, use the boy, right? And like, so where's this voice coming from? It's coming from the back of Quirrell's head. So the back of Quirrell's head says that he wants to meet Harry. And
well, wait, not until after they figure out the mirror.
Oh, yeah. So, like, he says, use the boy. The ghost in the room says, use the boy.
The voice.
Yeah. And then he stands in front of the mirror, and all of a sudden, what does he see in the mirror, Christina?
So he convinces himself he has to look in the mirror and lie about what he sees, because what he wants most right now is to get the stone before Quirrell does. And so he walks in front of the mirror and he sees his reflection, and at first it's like looking pale and kind of scared, but then it smiles at him, puts his hand into its pocket, shows Harry a blood red stone, and then puts it back into his pocket. And Harry, as he winks, the reflection puts it back in the pocket and winks, and Harry feels the stone fall into his pocket for real.
Yeah. So he's got the stone in his pocket at the moment.
Super astonished. No idea how or why. Just knows it's in his pocket now.
The power of Dumbledore's magic is how.
Always Dumbledore.
So he's like, what do you see, boy? And he's like, well, I'm shaking hands with Dumbledore because, like, I just won the House Cup. And Quirrell pushes him over. And then, again, the voice says, he lies. He lies. Uh-oh.
Damn voice.
How does the voice know he lies? I know, right? Like, what? Where? And then at this point is when the voice says that he wants to have a face-to-face kiki with Harry Potter. And so Quirrell starts to unwrap his turban and turns around so that his back is towards Harry. And Harry Potter screams, or at least he thinks he screams, and literally no sound is coming out of his mouth. Because what he sees is a chalk white face with glaring red eyes and slits for nostrils like a snake. Okay, it looks like
where the back of Quirrell's bald head should be. This is what he sees.
In the back of his head. So, dude,
this fool been hiding Voldemort in his turban all year.
Dude has two faces, right? This entire year, he has had Quirrell. Oh, Quirrell has had Voldemort in the back of his head. Like, Voldemort has been living inside of a turban for a year. That's crazy. But I think it's really interesting that he has slits for nostrils and red eyes. It's kind of, there's some foreshadowing there. It's very indicative of other things that we learn about him. And so Snape then talks. I'm sorry, not Snape. Voldemort talks, like, for the first time, face to face with Harry since he was a baby. He says, I know what you have in your pocket. You have the stone in your pocket. You should join me and save yourself. Now, we will come to find out that this is very much Voldemort's kind of MO. Very
Hitler.
Yeah, I was just going to say, very Hitler-esque.
He's the magical Hitler.
Yeah. Because the other crazy thing is, though, he also, like, puts Harry down at the same time that he's trying to get him on his side. It's very weird. Because he's like, your parents begged for mercy, too. So it almost is like kind of childlike behavior where you attack, right? You try to get someone on your side. You try to, like, persuade them. And when it doesn't work, when you don't get your way, then you just attack, right? Go negative. Well,
but also, like, letting him know your parents wouldn't join me either, and this is what became of them. Save yourself, save your own life. Like,
yeah,
it's like there is no choice. He makes it sound like it's a choice. Come on, don't you want to join me? Okay, well, you're going to join me, or I'm going to kill you. Like,
yeah. Well, but then also, if you're Harry Potter and your parents have died and you've lived all these years without your parents, don't you think that it's a dumb idea to bring them up?
Well, that's kind of the point, though, isn't it? Like, depends.
I guess. So then he also, like, Harry Potter screams that he's a liar because he knows, based on the images that he gets, or like the faith of the type of people that they were, that they would not have begged for mercy, that they would have stood their ground, and that they would have been, you know, heroes even in death.
And Voldemort even tells Harry himself, your mother didn't have to die. She was trying to keep me from killing you. She's died to protect you.
Yeah.
Thinking like, stupid woman, silly woman, look at how dumb your mother is. Not realizing that he's just telling Harry, no, this is how much your mother loved you. She died to save you. Like, but Voldemort is who Voldemort is.
Yep. So at this point, I guess Voldemort is getting a little bit frustrated with Harry because Harry's obviously not giving in. And then so he's like, you know what, Quirrell? Just grab him. All right, let's go. I don't have time for this. So Quirrell goes and tries to grab Harry, right? Quirrell puts his hand on Harry's wrist, grabs him by the wrist. And then an otherworldly pain comes to Harry, shooting pain in his scar again, as it tends to happen to Harry a lot.
But he also realizes Quirrell is screaming.
Well, at that point, yes. After the initial shock of the head splitting pain, he realizes that he's not the only one in the room screaming. Quirrell's screaming, and he's like, wait, why are you screaming? You're the one holding on to me. And then he looks at Quirrell, and Quirrell's blistered, like his hands are burning. They're like singed, and looks like maybe a little bit of smoke is coming off of them. And Harry's like, wait a minute. He can't touch me. When he touches me, something happens. And so he's like, oh, I have some kind of crazy power over him. Let me touch him. So then he grabs Quirrell by the face.
Well, first Voldemort was like, sees him, and he's like, I can't, it hurts my hands. And he is grabbing Harry, but he's like, I can't hold him, my hands. He pins Harry down, has his knees on his shoulders, and has his hands around his neck. And that's when Harry reaches up and grabs his face.
And then his face is basically melting. His face is I mean, how else do you describe it, right?
Yeah.
And then Harry's like, I just have to keep holding on. I can't let go. This is it. holding on. And mind you, all the while, even if Harry touches Quirrell, Harry's scar is still hurting, right? So they're both in pain. But even through the pain, Harry's like, I can't let go. And all of a sudden, he passes out, right? And he passes out as he sees someone is removing Quirrell off of him. Someone is taking him.
It says he felt Quirrell's arm wrenched from it because Quirrell had gotten away and was going to do the killing curse with his wand, and Harry grabbed his arm and was hanging from his arm. And so as he's hanging from his arm, it says he felt Quirrell's arm wrenched from his grasp, knew all was lost, and fell into blackness. Down, down, down.
Oh, poor
So-
buddy. He tried so hard.
He did. He did.
And then he's coming to. And he sees what he thinks is a golden snitch. And then he's like, wait, that's not a golden snitch. Those are glasses. And then he's like, wait, that's Dumbledore. And he's like, oh, Dumbledore. Whoa, what happened to the stone? What happened to Quirrell? Where is he? Like, he still thinks that he's fully, like, right there in the moment because he's just coming to. And poor Dumbledore, he's like, relax, man, relax. Madam Pomfrey kick me out.
You're a little behind the times.
Harry woke up in the hospital. Third time in the hospital is how you're trying to tell me?
3 days later.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, whoa, calm down. Quirrell doesn't have the stone. You're behind the times, man. And at one point, Harry's like, how long have I been here? And he's like, oh, like 3 days.
3 days, right? And then, as you do when you come to, you slowly start to take in your surroundings, right? He's like, oh, wow, I am in the hospital. Oh, wow. What are all these presents? And Dumbledore's like, gifts from your admirers. What admirers? Like, all your friends, right?
Because Harry said it looked like it was half the candy shop piled on the table.
How cute is that? That's awesome, right? Yeah. So basically, they talk about what happened. Dumbledore tells him that he pulled Quirrell off of him, that Harry, that he didn't get the stone in the end, and that he almost died. And he's like, I know, I tried so hard to hold on. I tried, I really tried. And he's like, no, you almost died. Not Quirrell. You almost died. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, wait, what about your friend, Nicholas Flamel? And he's like, oh, you knew about Flamel? You did do it right. You did do a good job. And,
yeah, because Dumbledore told him the stone had been destroyed.
We're going to come back to this for my takeaway because anyway, yeah. So he said that the stone had been destroyed, and then he's like, wait, Flamel is going to die. And he's like, you know what? To Flamel, death, to a well-organized mind, death is but the next step, right? We're just going on to the next step. Especially, I mean, come on. If you've lived 665 years, I would be tired.
Yep, he even says that at one point. He says to Nicholas and Perenelle, it really is like going to bed after a very, very long day.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Harry's curiosity starts to pique, and he says, wait, is Voldemort gone? Like, what happened? And Dumbledore says that he believes that there are other ways that he could come back. He's not sure entirely what's up, but he doesn't know. And then he's like, wait, why did he try to kill me? Right? Why me? Because at this point, Dumbledore said, look, I'm going to let you ask me a question, but if I can't answer, you've got to be patient with me because there's certain things that I just, I can't tell you. And
he's like, but I won't lie.
Yeah.
But I will not, of course, lie.
And the very first question that Harry asks, Dumbledore's like, I can't tell you that.
I know you hate hearing this, but you got to wait till you're older.
You gotta wait till you're older. And then he's like, why can't Quirrell touch me? And he says, well, your mother sacrificed her life, sacrificed herself for you. And that leaves a mark. And Harry, like, thinks it's his scar or whatnot. And he's like, that leaves a mark inside of you, right? It's a protection of love. And it was so cute. At this point, Dumbledore is very busy looking at something outside in the window because Harry's wiping his tears, right? Like, Dumbledore gives Harry a moment.
It was a bird on the windowsill.
Yeah.
It says Dumbledore now became very interested in a bird out on the windowsill, which gave Harry time to dry his eyes on the bedsheet.
And then, of course, he asks, why does Snape hate me? Or did Snape and my dad have a thing? And he's like, Professor Snape, Harry. But yeah. Well, your dad and Professor Snape didn't get along in school. And your dad did something that, you know, Professor Snape is really upset about. He's
never gonna forgive.
Yeah. He saved his life. You would think that if someone saved your life, you'd be really happy about that.
Yeah, but he says Professor Snape couldn't bear being in your father's debt.
Yeah.
I do believe he worked so hard to protect you this year because he felt that would make him and your father even. Then he could go back to hating your father's memory in peace.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically, after that, they kind of talked a little bit about how the stone got in the mirror or how Harry got the stone. And at this point, Dumbledore kind of toots his own horn and he's like, man, even for me,
that was one of my more brilliant ideas. I love Dumbledore.
Yeah. And finally, he gets to leave. Oh, no, wait. No, he doesn't leave the hospital room. Ron and Hermione come to visit for like 5 minutes. They're only allowed 5 minutes. Okay.
Wait. You have to back up because you glossed over something relevant.
What?
So Dumbledore says, oh, look, Bertie Bott's every flavor beans.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah,
every flavor beans.
So, Dumbledore, how long do you think it's been since he ate them? He said since his youth, but how long do you think that's been now?
Oh, geez. He's 100 and something, isn't he?
Oh, I think so. So a long time since he's eaten every Bertie Bott's, right? Because he says, of course, I agree with him, that he came across a vomit-flavored one once. Christina, would you like to share how much you enjoyed that one?
If you guys refer back to one of our special episodes when I was there in Japan and we were tasting those things, and my skin just broke out just now from remembering the vomit-flavored every flavor bean. So, just like Dumbledore, I don't particularly take a liking to them after having a vomit-flavored one.
Yeah. They are so gross.
So then he says, but I'll be safe with a toffee one, don't you think? And he pops a golden brown one in his mouth, chokes, and says, alas, earwax.
That's right.
I love Dumbledore.
Yum, yum.
Okay. So then Harry convinces Madame Pomfrey to let Ron and Hermione come in for 5 minutes.
Yep. And of course, they talk about what happened, and they talk about Flamel and the stone, and everything that happened. He kind of like brings them up to speed on everything. And of course, Ron's like, when they're talking about Dumbledore and how he's talking about Nicholas Flamel and how, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. I love this quote so much. I always said he was off his rocker, said Ron, looking quite impressed at how crazy his hero was. I love that so much. So of course Hermione's being Hermione, and she's like, you could have totally been killed. This is crazy. But because they were wondering, because they had to bring Harry up to speed as well, because she brought Ron around, and then they were dashing up to the Owlery to contact Dumbledore when they met him in the entrance hall, and he already knew, and he says, Harry's gone after him, hasn't he? So they're like, did Dumbledore want us to do this? Was this his plan? Like, and then that's when Hermione's like, no way. That's dumb.
That's terrible.
You could have been killed. Like, that's why put children in danger like that? Why indeed? Why indeed? So Harry slept again, and then Hagrid came to visit for a quick second, and
that's when Hagrid gave him his gift.
The best gift ever. So obviously, I think Hagrid was feeling a little bit guilty and trying to find a way to make up for it.
You think?
So he
before came in, sat down, took one look at Harry, and burst into tears, talking about how it was all his ruddy fault. You think he felt guilty?
This is the first time that Hagrid cries, okay? Hagrid is a big old crybaby. When they put Harry on the Dursley's steps, the very first time we meet Hagrid and everybody, he's sitting there crying like a big old bear.
And McGonagall's like, shh, shh, just, we're gonna draw attention. Shh.
Yeah. So, it's not the first time or the last time that we see him cry, okay?
Hagrid's such a big softie.
Yeah, I love it. So he writes letters to Lily and James's friends and asks everybody for pictures. Whatever pictures they can get. And he puts them in a photo album for Harry. It was a handsome leather-covered book. Harry opened it curiously. It was full of wizard photographs. Smiling and waving at him from every page were his mother and father. Oh, makes you want to cry.
Because Hagrid said, I knew you didn't have any photos of your parents.
So cute. And they get to go to the feast. Finally, the end of year feast comes. And the Great Hall is decorated in Slytherin from head to toe all over, because at this point in time, Slytherin are the house champions.
Well, Gryffindor had a game while Harry was in the hospital wing. And they said Ravenclaw flattened the Gryffindors without Harry being there.
They lost miserably. Yes.
And now Gryffindor's in last place.
Yep. How sad is that? So Dumbledore is like, wait, I have a house points to give out. Last minute house points to give out. Yeah. So the points are 50 points to Ron for the best chess game ever. Right? Then, of course, Ron went purple in the face. He looked like a radish with a bad sunburn. And then to Hermione for her cool use of logic in the face of fire. Another 50 points. And Hermione was very Hermione, and she buried her face in her arms to cry.
And the Gryffindors are going nuts because they just got 100 points.
Of course. To Harry Potter for pure nerve and outstanding courage. 60 points. And at this point in time, everyone's doing the math, right? The math is mathing, and Gryffindor's tied with Slytherin.
And not only is the Gryffindor table going nuts, but Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff are going nuts because everybody against Slytherin.
Yeah, nobody wants Slytherin to win. Sorry, all of you Slytherins, but you're not well loved.
I mean, not in the books. The Slytherins I know in real life, I love very much.
Yes, as do I. Now, something interesting happens after this. Dumbledore awards an additional amount of points. Would you like to tell us about that?
There are all kinds of courage, said Dumbledore, smiling. It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. I therefore award 10 points to Mr. Neville Longbottom. Explosion of cheering. Neville's like frozen and white with shock because what the heck? And all these people are jumping on him, hugging him. And Harry nudges Ron in the ribs and kind of is like, look at Malfoy.
And Malfoy was stunned.
Stunned and horrified, as if he just had the body bind curse put on him.
So I guess that's something like this. And which means that a change in decorations are in order, and Dumbledore's like, beep, 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 magic, and everything is Gryffindor. Woo! And Gryffindor wins the House Cup, and then they have to pack it on up. It's time to go. The end of the year is here. So they pack it up. Their trunks are full. Their rooms are empty. They get their marks back. And seemingly somehow, Harry and Ron
Everybody
pass. Even more shocking, even more so, Neville passed thanks to his herbology marks. And,
which balanced out is abysmal, I think is the word they used. Potions mark. Did they say abysmal?
Yes. And Hermione, of course, had the best grades in all of the first grade.
Of course she does.
And then they make their way on down to the train. Everybody's on the train. They're having a good time, enjoying their last moments of magical life, kind of, I guess. And then they get to King's Cross Station. Now, this is so hilarious because Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon have come to pick Harry up. And they see Ginny Weasley and Arthur and Molly Weasley, and everybody's there, ready. And he's thanking Mrs. Weasley for the fudge and for the Christmas present. She's like, oh, it's nothing. But really, I mean, it meant a lot to Harry because that was his first Christmas with gifts. And Uncle Vernon is there, and he's like, well, are you ready? And he's like, Mrs. Weasley comes up to Harry's family, and she's like, you must be Harry's family. Uncle Vernon says, in a manner of speaking, hurry up, boy, we haven't got all day. And then basically...
And walks away.
Like,
walks away.
Yeah.
You have to add that because just how frigging rude this guy is.
Yes. And they're like, Hermione, after she sees that, she's like, oh, I hope you have a good holiday. Although I don't know how, kind of thing. And he's like, oh, I will, because you know what? They don't know that we're not allowed to use magic at home. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with Dudley this summer.